Good day and welcome to the arena on KAFTAN TV. My name is Pius Awunah. I'm going to be your host as usual. Thank you. Arena is a magazine program that presents different issues from different parts of the country and even the world. We bring these issues to you so that you should know what is happening and you should be enlightened in order to learn and improve your knowledge. Thank you very much for joining us on the program today as well. I now have a guest with me in the studio. We'll be going on a break. After the break, I'll introduce my guest and the topic. So don't go anywhere. Stay close. Welcome back from the break. The program is the arena on KAFTAN TV Abuja. And my name is Pius Awunah. My guest, Mr. Qudus Owolola. Qudus is a public affairs commentator. He's with me on the program today. And we'll be looking at the future of Nigeria after 2023 general elections. And we're going to be looking at the security, our health sector. We'll look at the education sector, and we'll also look at the power sector. These are the areas we're going to look at. Qudus, you're welcome on the program.
Hi, Pius. I'm so happy to be here on KAFTAN TV.
Nice having you too.
Thank you for your invitation.
So, we are looking at the security, we are looking at the education, we are looking at health sector and the power sector. Let's start with the security. You are aware of what is happening in the country, the kidnapping, the terrorists attacking people, adopting people, asking for ransom, and so on. It's very sympathetic. And even these are just the major, the kidnapping and the attack are just the major activities we are seeing. There are other activities too.
That's true.
Even the recent killing of a student in Sokoto, all these are insecurity. So I would like to ask you this question. Can you applaud the government for its fight against terrorism in the country, or just against the insecurity in general in the country? Can you applaud the government on that?
Pius, see, when you told me about your questions about insecurity in the country, I feel everybody in the country knows what's going on as regards security.
Yes.
But I'm just going to come with some major fact and then let people decide on what's really going on in the country. Over the years, we've had issues as regards terrorism in the country for more than 10 years. Boko Haram has been terrorizing the country. The northeastern part of the country has been in shambles for more than a decade now. But just of recent, we witnessed a recent low attack when it comes to terrorizing of the people. That means the government have been fighting against terrorism. They've been budgeting money for ammunitions and all. But in 2021, the Global Terrorism Index states that only 69 people were reported dead through Boko Haram insurgency, and then that is 77% decrease in the number that we've had from the previous years. But that doesn't stop them from attacking. They've been attacking, and the government have been attacking them as well, which is a counter attack for them. But to me, I still feel, since we are still losing lives of Nigerians, the government have not taken us to where we ought to be. When they were coming on government, what they promised us was they are coming in to tackle terrorism. They are not saying they are coming to work on it. They are coming in to tackle terrorism, but they've not gotten there. We want them to be there. We are here to provide support for them, but this is not what we want. This is not what they projected for us. We believe they can do better, and we are still saying they should do better than this. Last year, October, from America, they sent a 16 armed people to come and rescue just one American on the Nigerian soil. It was in Niger State. The American people, Donald Trump was still the president. They sent in an experienced team to come and rescue just one Nigerian, just one American citizen, to tell you how powerful they respect lives in America. But the inverse is the case here in Nigeria, whereby our government don't really value lives and properties. So many people are being displaced at the moment. Millions of Nigerians, when I say many people, millions of Nigerians are being displaced at the moment. They don't even have homes. go to IDP camps. You see people displaced. This is not the Nigeria that we believe we can have. I believe we can do better. I believe the government can as well do better. But this is not what we want from them. We want them to do better. I believe they are doing something in terms of funding.
Is the government even really fighting terrorism? Because, you know, the reason why I ask this question is this. Those who have been arrested for this were released in the name of pardon. And they, you know, rehabilitate them, send them back to the society. The society they have been terrorizing. So when you are looking at this, can you even really say, because these are the same people who have been perpetrating these acts of killing, attacking different communities, different states, causing, you know, destroying lives, property, and so on. And then after arresting them, then you have to set them to go free in the name of what? Pardon. Can you, so what are you fighting? Is the government really fighting this?
Pius, I'm not the government spokesperson.
Yes, I know.
Spokesperson,
yes.
And what I'm just bringing to the table are facts.
Yes.
I can tell you that 2021, we received, from our records, from records that we have, 77% decrease in the number of deaths. But we have 49% increase in the number of attacks. These people are still attacking, but lives are still being protected. We can easily attach this to the impact of the government in terms of ammunition and then strengthening the security apparatus that we have. But this doesn't stop the government from doing what is needed. Our aim is going to be where we will say that a Nigerian life matters, where we can say that our lives and properties are very safe. We can rest and then sleep without thinking of who else is coming on my door. That is the stage we are aiming to go to. But at this stage, I can tell you that the government is working. We can see it from the fact because lives, the percentage of lives lost are being reduced, but the attacks are still coming. That means the government are fighting, lives are being reduced, but then since the attacks are still coming, we can't really say we've gotten to the stage whereby we say, okay, fine, the government have done the needful. We still have a very long way to go. That's what I'm saying. The government still needs to keep on fighting terrorism until we achieve our goal.
Yes, I remember when this issue started, especially when you're talking about Boko Haram, the number of bomb blasts. At a point, people were afraid of going to church, but at least I know that now people can go to church.
And go to church.
You know, because of that bomb blast that was happening frequently, that was what was even increasing the number of deaths. But now we are not witnessing that, but other attacks are happening. You see the recent train attack.
In fact, the same thing happens to the IPOB.
And then now, what I want us to look at is this. Did you see the incoming government? Because we have the government that will soon leave. Elections are near, and we will have elections very soon, and then we have a new government to come in. Did you see the possibility of a new government addressing the issue of insecurity in the country, where we will not be having these attacks, where we will not be having this, you know, this insecurity is really causing a lot of, you know, setback. So things are not moving, if not now that people can even go to farm. Before, people hardly go to farm. Because there are some recorded cases of somebody who went to farm has not been seen, and they later discover the person dead. So this scared people. People could not go to farm. And you can even see from my own statistics, you see that even the production, the food production over I think in the last year was low. Mm-hmm. And that's why you see there is hunger. Even in Benue State, where it's a food basket of the nation, if you go there, food is very expensive now. Unlike before, people go there to buy food to transport to other states and make money. But it's no longer like that. So did you see the new government, the possibility of the new government addressing this issue of insecurity, where we have low attacks or will not even have anything insecurity in the country at all?
Pius, any incoming government that is willing to speak to the people and then win the hearts of Nigerians will always use security as the #1 point in this coming campaign. You see, you can't even do anything in this country when there is no security. Yes. Security should be your #1 priority. So whoever that is coming in, I believe a serious government coming into play, 2023, the first thing they need to tackle is security. We need to be more secured. That is the fact. Nigerians need to be more secured. We need to have the freedom to work freely. Go to Sokoto, see what is happening at the moment. People can't even all what you've worked for in years, within 5 minutes, everything is gone. Insecurity. We need to take security. Whomsoever that is coming to government in 2023, one of the key points the person needs to focus on is security.
What is your advice on how it should be tackled?
You see, when it comes to security, look into IPOB, as I was saying earlier. In 2020, we only had one attack. One person died in 2020 due to IPOB attack. In 2021, from our records, what we recorded was around 79 deaths from IPOB. And this was because of the clashes between the IPOB and then the law enforcement agencies. So people are bringing up their grievances. The government is fighting against them. I feel at this stage, the government needs to work hand in hand with community leaders, people, the masses, and then find a lasting solution to it. One of the best ways we can do this is bringing people together, hear their grievances, and then provide solutions to it. This country belongs to all of us. I believe Nigerians want this country to also develop. We want the best for this country. But then we need to hear our own opinion, listen to them, and provide what they want for them.
Qudus, there is something that is really disturbing me, and this is it. You know, this issue of insecurity has become something that people are making money from this. And I'm afraid, because you know the recent Kaduna Abuja train attack, one of the victims pay, according to the report in different media, pay over 100 million for him to be released. He's the MD of a bank. These guys are making this kind of money within just a month, or can I say within just a day. And that is not just all. There are other ransoms that have been paid for the release of the victims of this kidnapping, adopting people here and there. You can see that it is a business that they are really making money. Is it possible to get these people back? These people doing this thing, is it possible to get them back to, let's say, let them do legitimate work to earn money? Is it possible now, looking at it, that looking at the money they have been making in this, and looking at the fact that, to be very honest, many people, if you go on the street to interview people, many people will tell you that government is not serious, because at least those who have been arrested for something like this, punish them. Then other people that want to do same will restrict their steps. But you see the situation where there was a time government even proposed to send them to, after rehabilitating them, to send them abroad to go for their studies, so that they will come back and become better people. So if somebody is being arrested for killing, involving in terrorism activities and all that, and then you are giving him this kind of preferential treatment, and then you expect others to not to go into and perpetrate the same act. So these are the issues that are very disturbing. Pius. And now the question is, these guys are making millions for this. Do you think it's possible to get them back to do legitimate things and earn money?
I believe we can still go into reorientation, try to reorientate these people, and then find a way to get them back to society. In fact, I was going to give you a real life situation of how a family friend that I know of paid 100 million naira as a ransom. In fact, the initial price, the initial amount they requested from them was 1 billion naira. What? And then they eventually paid 100 million. So I was curious. I said, how were they able to pull this off? I'm very sure they are. In fact, I just don't want to start naming people. This is so fishy. I believe this should never happen to us in this country. People pay huge amount of money to get themselves, their family freed from these kidnappers, and then this banditry is becoming a core part of us. The government needs to wake up to its own responsibility. Security should be the number one thing. If you are not safe in this country, there is no how this country is going to move forward. Security should be the bane of contention in this country. We need to be more serious when it comes to securing lives and property. I believe the government, or the whoever that is coming in 2023, should focus on the security architecture, find a way, a long-lasting solution on how we can make our people more secure. This country, when it comes to security, in fact, at the moment, what we are witnessing as regards security, no country on earth should even witness this. This is so bad that we are even seeing this as a norm. Once they kidnap people, you say, oh, you pray for them, and then you start looking for money on how to release them. This should never happen to us. In fact, people were not seeing Nigeria like this in 2010. This is 2022. A whole lot has happened. 2023, we need to wake up to our own cause and then find a long-lasting solution to what is going on.
I want you to at least give us an advice about the issue of insecurity. What did you think can be done to address this issue? Just one.
You see, the way
because let me give you an example. I remember when Mr. Pius Awunah was the governor of Ekiti State. To be very honest, the attacks there were very low. Attacks were not recorded. There were not many. I remember what he did. He engaged all citizens. Everybody in the state was engaged. And I think he employed the services of even hunters and the local security operating as vigilantes. I remember very well. And the Fulani herdsmen in the state that people were accusing them of being responsible to the attacks recorded so far at that time, they were given their own areas where they can stay to operate. And the state came out with a law or a policy that if you are seen anywhere aside the area you have been given, you are a terrorist or you will be dealt with. Then that now restricts even the movement of the herdsmen. They were in a particular area that they were given according to the policy that they came out with at that time. And then the attacks reduced drastically. After when this policy was in place, you hardly hear of people have been attacked here in Ekiti State, here and there to kill. No. So this, for me, I even recommended this kind of system or policy to other states that are complaining of Fulani herdsmen attacking them to kill, to destroy their farms and all this and that. So now, looking at that, what would you suggest or advise that government should do, especially the incoming government should do to
Pius,
address this?
I'm going to prefer or suggest 3 possible options for the government. But I can tell you that this Pius Awunah that you were talking, I was in Ekiti then.
Yes.
And I knew what he did. People were so in love with him that when he gives directives, they really follow. But one thing I also talk about is the insurgency when it comes to Boko Haram. You know, Boko Haram, I'm going to bring in 3 options, like I said. One of the best ways to tackle this is to go after those that are sponsoring insurgency in this country. You see, when you go after the head, those that are sponsoring them, that's like the first thing. The sponsors, when you go after them, it has more effect than going after those that they are recruiting.
Yes.
You see, the field soldiers, in fact, when you kill, they will recruit. But you go when you go after their sponsors, it becomes so difficult to fund.
Yes.
That's like the first thing. The second option is go after those that are spearheading the movement. Boko Haram, I'm sure we've seen their act now has reduced in a way because one of their leaders, Abubakar Shekau, Islamic Islamic ISWA, they call it ISWA, Islamic Western State. He went there with explosive vest, and then he bombed his fellow people, one of their leaders. What he did was because of the discrepancies they had then, he went there and then he blew himself up. And that is one of the reasons why we have low attacks in the Northeast, because one of their leaders is gone. So if you go after those that are spearheading the units of those attacks, it also reduces their impact on the soil. Another thing is to strengthen the security apparatus, law enforcement agencies. You reinforce them, you give them enough budget, let them buy ammunition, provide ammunition for them. That is what I mean. Provide ammunition for them. You see, when you go after the sponsors, the army, those that are aiding them, and then you strengthen your security apparatus.
I have gotten that. Going after those that sponsor them, but the problem here is that who are those that are sponsoring them? That's another issue.
I believe the government know them.
Yes, and another, I will chip in here that it's not just, aside all that, punish those who are been arrested for this.
Of course, of course.
So that other people can look at it and retrieve their
One of the low
steps.
points I have with this government is when they release
it's not right. Okay, we are going on. I will cut you here. We are going on a break, and we'll come back and continue from here. Don't forget, the discussion is on the future of Nigeria after 2023 general elections. Are we going to get it right this time around? We are going on a break. After the break, we'll continue from here. Thank you. Back from the break, I'm still with Qudus Owolola, my guest, a public affairs commentator. We have looked at the issue of insecurity and how it should be addressed. Now we want to move to education. We have a strike ongoing now, ASU. And there is no government that will come into power that won't witness a strike. These strikes are not just at the federal level, we have them even at the state level, whereby in some cases primary schools go on strike. The universities, we still have one ongoing. It's very unfortunate. When are we going to get it right in the education sector? Somebody say, and I believe, that education is the backbone of every society, of every state or nation. And the break of it may end the existence of that nation. And we seem not to give the needed attention to education sector. Our government need to do more. We have the strike ongoing, and this is not the first time. I've been looking at the issue of strike, and I discovered that even the previous government before this one of the issues they promised during the campaign is to make sure education sector is vibrant, to make sure the education sector is being restructured in the way that our people will not like to even go outside there to acquire knowledge. But look at what is happening. Somebody is supposed to go for just 4 years course in the university and is spending 5 or 6 years because of the strike. Qudus, what do you have to say about especially the ongoing strike in the education sector, or what do you think can be done to address this?
Pius, I'm going to take you back to 1999. I'm going to tell you that since 1999 till 2021, ASU has gone on strike for 4 years. For 4 years? When you combine all the days they went on strike.
From 1991
From 1999 to 2021, okay. We've had ASU on strike for 4 years. When I was in the university, I witnessed ASU strike 3 times. Most people in this country, in fact, very few of them, those that went to public university, since 1999, only few can tell you that they used 4 years for their 4-year program. Only few. In fact, when we look into this federal government and ASU conflict, you'll see that the ASU people, what they are requesting from the government is the lecturers' welfare and then the state of our higher institution. Just last year, the Central Bank of Nigeria, they released one of their studies. We were informed that Nigerians have paid $28.6 billion. $28.6 billion in sponsoring their kids outside the country. Imagine what kind of that kind of money, what it could have done to our own education system. In fact, the way our government sees our own education, it is so worrisome. And I used to tell my people, education is like the best shot for the masses in making it in life. Why are they not giving us this thing? In the olden days, when the likes of Awolola, when they were coming, what they were using to campaign was free education. And I'm sure he gave it to people. Why can't we have this thing? What the ASU people are even requesting for, they are not even bringing up new terms. These are terms that they agreed with the government in 2009. Why are you not conforming into their own terms? Another thing we should look into is the payment platform that they are having the discrepancy on. Yes. ASU is bringing up the UTS system called UTAS. The federal government is bringing up the IPPIS. ASU is saying this is the platform we want you to pay us from. The federal government said this platform you are bringing up has gone for integrity test, and it has failed 3 times. That is what the federal government is telling ASU. We tried this on integrity test. It failed 3 times. ASU is saying we also tried it. It has passed more than 80% assurance that this thing can work. Federal government is saying no, this thing cannot work. One of their main issue now is the UTAS, how they can work around and then find a lasting solution to their payment structure. So, and then another thing we really need to look into is when United Nations was saying each country should at least budget 25% of their annual budget, 25% of their annual budget into public education. Nigeria is spending less than 10% of that on our education system, which is so worrisome.
So even having up to 5%?
Less than 10%. And then the standard is 25%. So how do you expect us to deliver when it comes to situations like this? So solutions to this is the government needs to key into education. This is our future. We need to develop our own education. We need to. Nigerians are leaving this country. Go to UK, to US. They are doing better. They call it brain drain. Nigerians are leaving. because they want the best for themselves. People are paying more and more and more to get education. This is what we can give them here. Why are we not doing it?
And then the funny aspect of it is that those who are in leadership position, you see that they even sponsor their own kids abroad too to go there and
everybody wants a better education for their kids.
These are the people who are in the position to make sure the education sector is vibrant. The education sector is something that even people who are in other African countries, they would like to come here to school. Imagine Nigerians going to Ghana, going to other African countries to acquire education. It's very embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
Nigeria being a giant of Africa, is a place
where the giant of Africa.
Is a where other African countries, the people should come here to acquire knowledge. But we are rather going there, going to Ghana, going to South Africa and other places in Africa to acquire education, which is very embarrassing. And another funny issue is that every government that, political parties, there are candidates that are campaigning to, to take power from the ongoing government. The issue of education is always one of the issues that we use for their campaign. That's, yes, if you vote for us, we are going to make sure there will be no strike, all this. But every government that comes in witness strike. And it's as a result of the fact that they failed to do the needful.
Failed to do the needful.
Yes. Now, what actually is your advice on what you think the incoming government should do so that we cannot, at least let's for once in Nigeria that the first tenure of any government that will come into power should not witness strike, and that should continue. It's not something that we just have it once and then we'll go back to the old. I think
at this stage, one of the prominent thing we need to look into is funding. Before we even look into how would they spend this money, I think the first thing we need, the main problem that we have on ground is funding. ASU is requesting for funds. Go to our primary schools, our secondary schools in other states, even the federal government institutions too. Funding. If you are saying you don't trust people with funds, you have to bring in measures that will take care of those monies that will be going into those institutions. So, but the first thing that the government needs to do is to bring in money, pump it into education sector. In fact, you are bringing in 25% of our annual budget into education, and then you are bringing in agencies that is going to monitor the inflow and the outflow of that money. That is a valid and a tactical approach. But if you are not funding the university and or these public institutions and you are still looking for a way to moderate and then find a lasting solution to what we are having on ground, I don't think it's going to work. The easiest way is funding. Nigerian institutions, public institutions, they lack funding. Education is one of the things we really need to look into if we want to progress as a nation, and the government needs to fund it.
Yes, education is one of the things we need to look into if we must progress as a nation, and the government need to fund it. That's now, I want us to look at the health care system that we have in the country. This is another area that we should give the needed attention to. We have our leaders. They travel abroad to, for their medical treatment. They prefer to go out there to treat themselves. They don't believe in what's happening here in our hospitals here. And they are in the position to revive these hospitals, to equip them, to even build more and make it something attractive, make it something that can give quality, services to the people. But they prefer going outside there. So we are now wondering, when are we going to get it right in the health sector, whereby, let me just say this, it's funny, whereby people from other countries would like to come here to access our healthcare services.
When you said it's funny, I knew obviously it is, because Nigeria is
when are we going to get there?
Nigeria is one of the worst countries that we have in terms of healthcare system. We are ranked fourth from the lowest. So for outsiders from this outsiders to come into this country and then to get themselves treated, no, I don't think that's going to happen very soon. Another thing we need to look into is the life expectancy of people in this country. In the world, the life expectancy is 73 years. But in Nigeria, life expectancy is 55 years. Yes, 55 years. So you are expected as a Nigerian, on an average, the maximum, on an average, at least 55 years. In the world, 73. This shows our level of healthcare system. Go to most of the public hospitals. No drugs, no doctor on seats. Even our doctors are even traveling out of the country and then look for better pay. They are not paying them well. After spending 6-7 years in the university in getting your certificate, you're giving them, let's say, I don't want to mention numbers, which they can't even use to take care of their own family. After so many years in school, they can't even take care of their own family with the same salary. So people are leaving the country. I'm sure you could see the news when they said some security personnel were stopping people from leaving the country. Medical doctors from leaving the country, because what they are seeing at the moment is not even enough to take care of themselves, not to even take care of their family. And then those that are meant to take charge of healthcare facilities, if they are not happy, how do you tell them to take care of people? I'm not going to talk about how bad some doctors are, but the main point, which is the healthcare system that is in shambles, that people, Nigerians, need to get access to healthcare facilities. In fact, you see the basic things of life, like water, healthcare, good roads. These we should even move past these things. As a nation, we should have moved past these things. Nigerians shouldn't even be suffering when it comes to healthcare, suffering because of water, suffering because of bad roads. We should have moved, if we want to develop as a nation, we should have moved past things like this. But then look at us, this is 2022. 2023 will still be here. And then you can't even go to the nearest hospital and get proper healthcare. This is worrisome. And I really hope the Nigerian government can do something about this. This is bad.
You know, these are the health sector is one of the areas that government is always hammering on, especially during their campaign. They promise a lot. They will look into health sector. My problem is that when they promise all this, they get to power, then they forget. They don't do all that they promise. They don't even do any. Why can't us have the government that at least, let's say the outgoing government now, are they being focused on the issue of power sector and has been able to treat it? Now we're having stable power supply. Then the next government will come and focus on another thing. Then we'll get that done. But they keep promising they will come in, they will not do, and they will not even achieve anything from the things they have promised to do. It's very disturbing.
The present government
they are just using this as politics. They use this to get to power and then abandon all their promises. It's very unfortunate that we keep talking about this issue, because if you check back from the 1999 that the power was returned to civilians till now,
okay,
you will see that in all the campaign promises, from different political parties with their candidates, the issue of power sector was there. The issue of healthcare, I think security was not even that given much attention, because from the beginning we are not having all these issues of insecurity in the country. So I witnessed something very funny, and it's not once. You know these people that say drugs by the roadside. By the roadside? Many people call them aboki. Okay. Somebody will go to them to ask for drugs, that I need this particular drug. Some will even tell them, I'm not feeling well, this is what is happening to me, and which drug can you give me? Why would you be patronizing these guys, even telling them your problem?
Because that is what they can afford. That is what they can afford. That is why we are saying.
They don't even, the only thing I know they manage to understand is the name of the drug, so that when somebody called the name, they're not, okay, this is the drug. They'll be able to give you the right one. But why are you telling them your problem, that this is what you are facing, and what kind of drug can they give you? Many of these guys, they do not even did not finish primary school, or did not even go to primary school. Somebody give them these drugs, they are hawking people. How would you present yourself there as a patient, and then you expect them to give you the right
you see, when I talked about the life expectancy in Nigeria, which is 55 years, it is as a result of so many factors. Imagine Nigerians going to people you mentioned for medications and then for prescription, which is very wrong. The normal procedure, which is for you to go to the hospital and then meet with the doctor, be prescribed, and then go to the pharmacy and then run your test, maybe go to the pharmacy and then get those drugs. People can't even afford that. People want to eat. In fact, even in feeding on daily basis is even a very heinous tax for you to complete. So imagine another thing on the health sector. You see, most of our problem in this country is the government really needs to look into some institution and then start funding them. You see, the healthcare sector, like I was saying, the basic amenities, those basic amenities, we are not supposed to even suffer on them. Healthcare, give people these things. In fact, most Nigerians are not even asking you for big things. They don't even want to live as if they're outside the country. Just give them the basic amenities of life and watch them achieve what they want to achieve in life. Healthcare system is in shambles as well. We really need to look into it. I'm urging the government, let them look into the health sector and then help Nigerians get better.
Well, I remember you mentioned the issue of funding too. The doctors are not being paid well, and because of that, many of them are leaving the country to other countries where they think they can get better paid. And when you pay them well, you motivate them to do their job better.
Employee motivation.
And this is very unfortunate. Instead of stopping them from traveling out to see where it is better for them to work, to have a better environment where they can function well, why can't you do something that will attract them to stay?
To stay.
And then you will make others that are already out of the country to come back.
But obviously, the government is not going to do that. What the government will do is just to victimize them and then make sure they don't leave against their own will. Making them stay when they don't want to stay, making it difficult for them to move to a greener pasture. Those are the doings of the government.
And then you look at those who just who come into power to just stay for 4 years as election, the law permits after the election. They make, I won't say millions, they make billions within the 4 years. And then somebody who has been working for more than 20 years or even years, close to 30 years as a public servant, the medical doctor and the rest, they cannot afford to even buy a good car for themselves. Look at, do you know other like in places like UK and the US and other places, they value education to the point that I think teachers are one of their the highest salaries earners in these places. But when you come to Nigeria, how much is a salary of a teacher? Many people don't even dream to be a teacher.
Of course, even me, I don't even want to.
If you have your own kid, your kid says, I would like to be a teacher, I would like to teach it. You will not like to hear that because that is not good. But go outside there, you see teachers are being taken care of. They live large. I know of a woman who is just a teacher in UK. And
the person is doing well.
She has one of the best private schools in Enugu State because she get money from there to push here. And then establish something in Nigeria. Here, can even a lecturer have a school, be able to manage it? How much is their salary? And that's one of the reasons why you see them going on strike every time.
Like I said, the issue with the federal government and ASU is those two key points: the lecturers' welfare and then the state of the institution. It
is very embarrassing that we are still going through all this after so many years of independence. You have government. People interested in governing, and they come into power, they promise you heaven and earth. Now when they come, they cannot even give you heaven. They can't even give you the earth, not to talk of heaven. This is very embarrassing. We discuss these things as if people look at it as if this is no longer news. Yes, this is no longer news. And they don't even, because of the fact that Nigerians, we are already used to this.
They are used to suffering.
So we suffer and smile. So we don't even look at it as something that somebody should even talk about it. Because as if even when we are talking, we are wasting our time because those who need to listen and do the needful, they don't listen, and they don't even do the needful when they listen. Because then they have what it takes to push their family abroad, to live there, and to get the best from there. They go there, they see how developed these places are. When they come back here, they do the opposite. Then you now wonder. So this is one of the areas that sometimes I always ask myself. So what is the need of acquiring education? If you acquire education and you cannot be able to, you go there for exposure, you see how things are done there. You have been to school, you have acquired degree, master's, or at least even if you don't have a master's degree or you are not a professor, but you have been in school, you are civilized. You have gone outside the country, you saw how things work there. And you are in the position where you can make the same things work here in your country, and you are doing the opposite.
In fact,
so what's the essence of you going to school?
Let me tell you something I saw on Twitter. Someone was just making a point as regards those that are writing JAMB. Person is saying, what is the essence of JAMB? When those are in school, there's ASU strike. Those that have graduated, there's no work. Those that are working, they can't even take care of themselves with the salary, and you are still writing JAMB. But then I'm still going to encourage people to go to school because presently, education is one of the best shots for you in making it in life. I know it might be very, very difficult, but then I won't advise you to leave education. It is still your best shot.
Well, that is, education is the best shot. It's true. I agree with you on that. The aim of going to school is not just for you to acquire knowledge and then after that you work with the government. Do you know there's this poor mentality that many people have? They believe that if they cannot work with the government or a big company, they cannot, achieve their dreams, which is wrong. You must not work with the government. One of the primary aims of going to school is for you to acquire knowledge, and after the school, you should be able to put that knowledge to use so that you can be able to live your life. In fact, you should create jobs. We know we're in the country where we don't even have an enabling environment to function. But you can't relax that because government is not doing what it's supposed to do. So you need to work on yourself. You need to do something that can be able to take care of yourself, even aside the job from the government or from the company. You create one. We're going on a break. After the break, we'll continue from here. Welcome back from the break. We are still looking at the future of Nigeria after 2023 general elections. Are we going to get it right this time in the power sector, in the healthcare sector, in the education sector, and in our security? Are we going to get it right? What should the incoming government do to address the issues we are having here and there? What should they do? Is it going to be a business as usual, where you have a lot of promises and when they get to the office, they forget all they have promised to do? Now we want to look at the power sector, the big one. Yes, after 8 years of privatization, we are still having the issue in the power sector, where if you go to some areas, they don't even have power. In some areas that even have power, they have in the whole month they get power twice, once either twice in a day, and they still pay electricity bill full. It's funny. These are the issues we are experiencing before the privatization of PSCN. And a lot of people were happy when the issue of privatization came, because they look at it as, wow, because government was as well hammering on the fact that if we privatize this PSCN, all these issues you are experiencing now, where you complain that there's no power, you won't see there. They were able to capture people's attention about the issue of power, how it's going to be better after privatization. But imagine, in fact, now, I think it's even, we are suffering more than what it used to be before the privatization of PSCN. What exactly is the problem with the power sector? Power sector is one of the economic, driving an area that should be given the needed attention. Because if you have stable power supply, I'm telling you, a lot of people, there's something they can do with the power that they will be able to earn a living. They don't need to wait for the government jobs. You go out there, you see those who are doing a lot businesses that need power. The businesses are dying because of lack of power supply. And then you see government will still come to them to pay tax. What are you doing as a government? You should be able to give them a stable power supply, whereby their economy will grow, their businesses will grow, and then they should be able to pay tax. In other countries where everything is working, you don't need to force people to pay tax. They pay because they see that they are progressing, let them pay. But when you come to Nigeria, it's a different ball game. We can't continue like this. Qudus is still with me here in the studio. Qudus, the issue of power sector is another area that we should look into. And it's funny, if you go back to look at the history, you will see that, let me start with Obasanjo. Okay. When he was coming in as a president. As a president? He promised power. He promised to make sure Nigerians have stable power supply. You go back and check. There was a promise of power supply there. Stable. Of course. He did 8 years. Do we have power supply? He left. Yaradua came with promises again. With promises. The power supply was another issue was there. It was another issue that he promised to give Nigerians stable. And all of them, if they come, they promise stable power supply. Promises. Do we have? In his case, he couldn't finish his tenure. He still continued to rest in peace. We have the vice president who took over from him and later became the president, Goodluck Jonathan. Okay. I remember I watched one of the interview with Goodluck Jonathan when he traveled outside the country, I think either in US. The Nigerians there were asking him that, please sir, if you cannot give us anything as a president, make sure we have stable power supply. And he promised that yes, he will make sure that is achieved. But he did his own, he left. Do we have power supply? Then we have the ongoing administration under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari. The issue of power supply was another issue he promised. And if you listen to his, if you watch the interviews before he became the president,
this campaign,
he was even against the issue of privatization in the power sector. Many people were even thinking that if he comes in as a president, he will even revive that, to take over the sector back to the government, not to leave it in the hands of private individuals that claim they bought state. But look at what he's going through now. I'm telling you this because I know you are a victim too. Everybody is a victim of the issue of power, whereby in your house where you live, you hardly get power supply. I know of a community called Asubi in Nasarawa. AEDC supplies light there. Okay. Do you know in the whole month they get light twice, and not even the full day. They give them like 30 minutes, not up to an hour. They'll take their light back. But at the end of the month, they come. The AEDC officials will go around to visit the houses to pay the electricity bill. What kind of stealing is this? What do you have to say about the issues we are facing in the power sector?
Pius, privatization, I'll tell you, is the right step in the right direction. In fact, I believe as a nation we should privatize the electricity aspect of our country, because, like I said earlier, privatization is like the right step in the right direction. In fact, we should give private individuals to manage this thing for us. I'm sure you'll be able to say this, that between NEPA and what we are having presently, is still better than what we had when NEPA was in charge. So when I say privatization is the right step in the right direction, I understand what I'm trying to say. But what we are having presently is not what we should have. We should have a better version of what we are having presently. And I believe those in charge are really looking into it, because when we have this kind of privatization and people at this stage, after 8 years of privatization, 7 years of privatization, it should be 8 years by now. 8 years. After 8 years of privatization, and we still don't have steady power supply. This privatization is two sides of a coin. If I'll be sincere with you, there are some areas in Nigeria that they have lights. Not so steady, but they can tell you that in a day they can have like 20 hours power supply. In some areas, some people don't have light for a month, which is very, very, very sad. So I'm not going to say it's all red for me. I'm just going to show you the green side, which is the bright side, and then the red side, which is the very bad side. The privatization has helped. Some communities are having light. I can tell you, I've stayed in areas whereby we have light for like 20 hours in a day. I've stayed in some areas when I was in Ekiti. There were some days, months that we won't have light more than 3 days. In Lagos, when I was in Lagos last year, we had light for hours in a day. I'm talking about 18 to 20 hours in a day. So I'm saying I've stayed during this privatization period, I've stayed in locations whereby there was light between 18 hours to 20 hours a day. And during the same privatization period, I've stayed in areas whereby there were no lights for more than 3 days, 5 days, a week. Maybe you just have to get light for like once in a week, which is very bad. So you see all these yardsticks, those are the things that we can't really say if we've really gotten it right as regards privatization. But I can tell you, if we really do it the way we ought to do it, privatization is the way forward. We need to privatize things like this. We should even leave electricity in the hands of the government. I don't really think the government should be handling things like that. The highest the government can do is a public-private partnership, which they are doing in places like Oyo State, whereby the government and then private individuals will come together and then establish an institution or a project, or probably an infrastructure. And then the government can provide the resources, maybe in terms of land and then or little resources, and then the private institution are going to come with their money, and then the government will support, and then the private people would manage it. But when you leave institutions like that in the hands of the government, stability won't be there. But trust me, privatization is the way forward.
Of course, I know.
But we are not getting it
I know privatization is the way forward. Yes, that's why if you even go to places like UK, US, they have done this before, and that's why you see them where they are
at the moment.
Yes, the people are managing this for the government, but the government is also monitoring closely.
Government should monitor. That's
so
the
that
point.
Whenever things begin to go wrong, the government
can easily come back.
You can't just privatize. There are terms and conditions given before the privatization that you must abide by this.
Yes.
The problem is that these were even following what they were given to follow before the privatization.
Where I would say
because we see poor performance. You can recall or agree with me that there was a time the government even have to send some people packing because there was a blackout everywhere in the country.
Yeah.
Some managers of this power sector were asked to leave. People were like, it's a private sector. Why is the government still, interfering into their activities? The government is still funding it.
Yes. They need, because there was a time the government were sharing prepaid meters for citizens. That is where the government should come in and then maybe subsidize some of their plans and then their expenses too. But privatization, I really think is the way forward when it comes to how best we can get electricity.
If it can be handled well, privatization is the best option. Because that gives room to other people to come into business. And it will no longer be something that, to no longer be a one-man business, whereby you decide what you want, whether somebody likes it or not. No, you have different people doing the same thing. And then if you can't give us the needed service, we switch to this one.
Yes.
Then you see things will go. You remember the issue of the communication companies we have in the country now before?
NITEL.
We're having only NITEL.
Yes. But now
you know how costly things are. Then later, the MTN came in.
They privatized it.
How much was a SIM card then? You remember? Do you know a SIM card was more expensive than
30K, 20K? That was the price.
Look at what is happening now. We have Glow is there. We have Nine Mobile is there, and the rest.
Although,
how much is a SIM card now?
Let me just come in as regards that communication aspect. You see, the communication aspect, when they privatized, in fact, people were even saying, why would they sell it? They are selling our resources to their cronies and all of those things. But I believe years after, Nigerians are even enjoying the privatization aspect of it. Even though that aspect too, we still have our own, they still have their own shortcomings too that we can easily look into. But we can tell that
it's better than before.
Of course, they've moved forward. They've transformed to something more better and all of those things. That was why I said privatization is the way
Imagine the issue of power sector too is like this, whereby if Glow is not giving you the needed service, you go to Nine Mobile.
You go to Nine Mobile.
Nine Mobile is not giving you, you switch to another one.
So, but then this electricity aspect, so that is why I'm saying the government really needs to come in as well, look into the problems they're having, provide solution to it, help them as regards their policy, find a better way of making work easier for them. And then I believe by God's grace, we should have a better power supply. I can like I said, NEPA and then what the privatization we are having now is even better than what we had then. In the olden days, when you see light, you say up NEPA. But now, in some cities, in some towns, they've not seen light. Even if there's still light today, some people will still shout up NEPA. But I can tell you that it has improved from what we had then.
In some areas. Because if you go to some areas, it's worse. It's
still the same thing. But like I said, privatization is the right step in the right direction.
But the way it is done in Nigeria is funny.
Yeah, the government needs to come in and then look for the loopholes, then help us out.
The loopholes. And then you see that I want to hosted someone here on this program to talk about the power sector. And you see a lot of things where the issue of corruption was also part of the discussion we had. And then you look at it that, yes, that is another thing that is the kind of preventing us from getting the stable power supply. But that is where I also say government has to monitor closely. Because if you are a leader, and that's why you see anything that happens at the federal level, we blame the government. Even at the state level, despite the fact that your governor is there, you still blame the government. Governors too are blaming the government, the federal government. And the federal government is not doing this.
The blame game.
Because you can't just release money for something to be done without you ensuring that what you have released money for is actually done. You see, then if you calculate how much is spent in the power sector so far, and we are still like this. Do you know, I can say half of what we spend so far in the power sector, I can give stable power supply in one of the African countries.
Pius, it is even funny that we are even talking about erratic power supply. Look at Ghana, look at neighboring countries. In fact, if a Ghanaian is going to come to this country, they will still talk about us not having good electricity, stable power supply. It is so funny. In fact, sometimes I just look at the whole thing and then look at the sectors that we are, the institutions that we are. Which of the institutions is even working perfectly? Which of them is working perfectly? It is from one problem to the other, from one issue to another. This is so bad, and I really wish our country can move forward.
That was why from our initial discussion when we started, I say, why can't the government just the new government that will come will focus on a particular thing, when you are done with that, another government will come. Okay, imagine that during Obasanjo focused on the issue of education. So we won't be having the issue of workers also going on strike.
Let us be realistic.
And then I think after Obasanjo, then we look at the Yaradua that came in, and then we see the Yaradua focus on the healthcare system, and then the issue of healthcare itself.
Pius.
And then Goodluck Jonathan was able to tackle the issue of power supply,
Pius,
the issue of power.
I really don't think that would be realistic, because all these institutions, they are interwoven. You can't leave education for power, and you can't leave power for infrastructure.
No, I'm not saying you should leave one for the other one. What I'm saying is that they make sure that no matter how difficult things are for you as a president, make sure that you address one issue before you leave.
Is it not the same thing the present government is doing, whereby they focus on infrastructure and then our security system architecture is lagging behind?
So what has the government achieved so far in these areas that you mentioned? Meanwhile, their time is
in fact, we can't even be talking about infrastructure, power, education if we don't have proper security architecture in the country. I think everything still boils down to we having a very good security architecture in the country. The government really look into the country. It is when you have a very good foundation, that is when you can build on it. If you don't have, security should be like the base, the foundation of everything. When you have a very good security structure, then you can build on it. People can't even live in their homes. People can't even work freely. That is when you say this is one of the reasons why I really don't key into this administration. You talk, when you ask them how far have they gone, they start showing you infrastructures. Infrastructures, people that are in IDP camps, can they even use the railway services? They can't now. So I believe the basis should be security. Then we can move into some other
infrastructures are there, and the terrorists we have, they destroy these things.
Even the ones they built, Kaduna, even the ones they built, even terrorists, that is security. I would say security is the main bane. In fact, I used to tell my people, I said, leadership is the solution to all problems of the world. When you have good leaders, in fact, I believe you are going to flourish. Leadership is the solution to all problems of the world. Find a good leader, and then you will flourish.
Do you see us succeeding in putting our power sector in order, whereby we have stable power supply and the economy will grow, and probably after the 2023 elections? Do you see the new government doing what can help us to have stable power supply?
I'm not going to be pessimistic about this. I'll just be optimistic. I'll be hoping for the best, because when I say there's no future in this country, it's like a pessimistic approach. But I'm going to be optimistic. I'm hoping whoever that is coming in is going to get it right at this moment, take us to a greater level, make us better, because I believe we deserve better. What we are getting at this moment is nothing short of what we should get. We deserve better. We deserve better than where we are. We deserve better than what we are getting. And we should move to the next level. The present administration promised us next level. In fact, they said from top to bottom. Top to bottom. This is from top to bottom to the mud. We've gone from better to worse. In fact, we were even saying the past administration was even worse. What we are saying presently is nothing to write home about.
I think you see the problem here is that when the new government comes into power and do not perform better, then people prefer the previous government.
Of course.
Don't be surprised. I'm not praying for anything bad for this country, but we know this is how things are working in this country. We are just praying and hoping that things will change for good. For good. If at all Buhari administration has been able to do something better than the previous government, can people be even saying, people are even saying that Goodluck government was better? Yes, if you look at it.
It was worse then, but now it seems like it's better.
It was worse then, but now it's better because of what the present government is not performing, is not doing what people expect. Not even doing what people expect, just do what you promise that you do.
And they really promise a whole lot of things.
Do what you promise you do. I remember during the speech, inaugural speech, where the president even moved the headquarters of Nigeria Army to Bruno.
In fact, people were even thinking that was like the best approach, but it was
I think he even gave a deadline that we are going to end Boko Haram December. That time, December ending. The deadline has gone past. This
is 2022.
This is 2022.
This is 2022. In fact, that's another thing I was telling you.
So we are not even asking you to do what we want you to do. Just do what you promised that you would do for us.
Of course, what you promised.
That's what we're asking. We are not asking that you go to every family and give them 2 million or 3 million. No. We are just asking that do what you promised Nigerians that you are going to do. Because we believe if you fulfill your promises, these issues we are having won't be there.
Funny enough, those things they promised, most of them were even basic amenities.
Yes.
Security, food, structures, basic amenities. And now even those basic amenities, we can't even get them. Nigerians are even striving on a daily basis to make ends meet, which I feel it is very alarming and challenging.
You remember an incident that happened in Kaduna where a woman gave sleeping drugs to the children because the children were crying of hunger. And she didn't have money or food for them. She just gave that and tried to calm them down and see how she can do before they wake up so that she can be able to give them food. And they slept, they couldn't wake up again.
I'm telling you.
Look at.
That is the situation we found ourselves in.
It's very unfortunate that we are experiencing what we are experiencing, yes. Because at the moment, we have government that promise and cannot fulfill the promises. It's very unfortunate. We can't continue like this as a nation, and we cannot grow like this. We should make sure we have the security in place, and then if there's no security in place and you are building things, you are establishing things, these things will not work. Look at the Boko Haram attacking the train, kidnapping people. Look at the protests, people destroying properties, the rest. Everything, we need to put everything in place if we must grow. The issue of power sector is another disturbing issue. That at this point in our life as a nation, we are still having issues in the power sector, that we can't have stable power supply. And that is killing our businesses, it's killing our economy. We are not growing. We are not growing. We are always trying to look at issues on this program that can really be of interest to you, and we'll continue to do that. We are hoping that the new administration that is coming in will make things work for us, will make things better, not to come and promise.
Are you giving up on this present government?
No, I'm not giving up on the present government because I'm not really giving up because they don't have more time left for them. The present government is soon going. There's no more time, and they cannot. If they cannot do the magic in 7 years,
can they do
is it within this year that
months?
They can do something? So we will not even be talking about the present government because they will soon be out of the office. So we hope and pray that the new administration should come in place and do things better. Let's get things work this time around so that we can move from where we are to a better place as a nation. Thank you very much for watching The Arena on KAFTAN TV. My guest has been Qudus Owolola.
That's very correct.
He's a public affairs commentator, and we have been discussing the issue of Nigeria's future after 2023 general elections. Qudus, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you, KAFTAN TV, for having me today. Hopefully, we'll do this some other time.
Quickly, what's your last word about all this we have discussed?
What I'm going to say is, I'm hoping for a better Nigeria come 2023.
He is hoping, and we are hoping for a better Nigeria come after 2023. Thank you very much for watching. You join us same time next week, same station to have another interesting discussion, and we believe you are going to enjoy, to learn and improve. It is very unfortunate that things are happening like this. I don't think we'll continue like this by God's grace. And another thing is that we, the citizens, we should also hold our leaders accountable if things must work. We should not just sit down and relax and continue to blame. We should do something that will make them also see reasons or will make them work. You were asking how are we going to do that. There are so many ways, but I can't discuss that with you now. Maybe the next edition of the program will also come up with a discussion that will address or will teach you how you should be able to hold your leaders accountable for you to get the needed services from them and to get things work the way you want. Thank you. The Arena on KAFTAN TV. My name is Pius Awunah. Thanks for watching.